What's up, everybody? One Fun Guy podcast coming at you live. I changed my background. I got some stuff coming and some things on the way. It's going to be all rock and horror toys that I had, or action figures, or whatever you want to call them. So, anyways, welcome to the One Fun Guy podcast and the pod cult. If you like the show, guys, please share it. I want to thank my guest, Steven, for being a guest on my last podcast. I got Kelly coming up tonight. We're going to talk about hard rock and heavy metal. But thank you all for being here. If you like the show, please like it. You don't have to do anything to be here. No money, no anything. If you like the show, guys, it helps us out. If you like it, that's great. If you could share it, even better. Subscribe to my podcast, One Fun Guy Podcast, over on YouTube. That would help me out immensely. So if you guys could do that for me, that would be great. If you like the live, please like it and share it. I am going to share it out real quick, and then I'm going to wait for Kelly to hop on, and we are going to have a good time tonight, guys. So please, thank you for being a part of the One Fun Guy podcast and the pod cult. It really means a lot to us, guys. So if you can share it out and like it, that's great. I am going to do my best to get this on the FYP tonight. I guess that's really going to all depend on you guys. If you share it out and you like it and you do everything that you can to help me out, that would do that. Lori, what's up? If you guys like it, please follow me and I'll follow you back. If you're new here, say hi, introduce yourself, welcome. If you guys like it, please just tap the screen and like it. You don't have to do everything. I'm not going to keep telling you to tap my face and do everything. You guys know what to do. So if you like it, awesome. I really appreciate the help. If you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, One Fun Guy Podcast, I am going to do my best to keep sharing this out to everybody that's in here. I'm looking for a couple people in particular. Obviously, my partner Kelly, he's going to be the big one. But if you guys can do your thing and do it, it really helps us out a lot, guys. So with that being said, thank you so much for being a part of the One Fun Guy podcast and the pod cult. So if you guys like what you see, if you could like it and share it, that's great. That would be fantastic. I'm just waiting for my buddy Kelly to hop on, and I'm just going to share this out to a few more people. I don't know who's on, so I am going to do my best just to get it out to as many people as I can. If I sent it out to you guys more than once, please, I apologize. I'm just going to wait for my buddy Becky. What's up? Welcome. Where is he? Here we go. Invite sent. So we're just hanging out, guys. We're gonna get this party started, and we'll go from there. Kelly, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? How are
What's
you?
happening?
Oh, a lot's happening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Tell us what you got going on.
Well, I guess I could say that it's been a bit of a week.
Okay.
Lots of stuff going on, but it's all good.
Excellent.
Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm going through seeing who of my folks are online so I can
Yeah, I shared it out too. So
share it out for a bit. All right, let's do that, yeah, just so I can have a conversation. Yeah, no. Lot of stuff happening in the personal life. Like me and my wife had our first anniversary on Sunday.
congrats.
So we
Happy
got
anniversary.
married a year ago, which is really awesome. Both having been married before, our
Right.
ceremony was very, very low key. You just went to like a courthouse and got her done, and then went for our honeymoon. But yeah, working hard on getting my release stuff done. There's a lot of work there, but unfortunately, my wife has also, from Monday on, has had some pretty serious health issues. So there's been a lot of hospital visits and so on in the past week. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit discombobulated right now, but
All right.
but
Well,
this
we'll
is
get through it. We
this
don't
is a
have to
good
make this
break.
super long.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How
So
how you been?
I can't complain, actually. I just got the announcement. I think it was Wednesday that Pantera was coming back
I
through
did
with
see that.
Amon Amarth. So I think I'm going to try to go either to Milwaukee or the Tinley Park one, depending on availability and stuff. So I'm definitely going to go and check it out. I was super impressed with the new Pantera merchandise. So they got this really cool Cowboys from Hell hat, and if you flip up the brim like old school, it says like CFH on it. So like, I don't know if they sell that at the show, but like I'm kind of excited to see what they have. And then I know Black Label Society is going to be playing Milwaukee Metal Fest, which back in the day, the Milwaukee Metal Fest was the biggest metal festival in the Midwest. It was hundreds of bands, signings, hanging out, and it just kind of went away. I think 2005 was the last one, or 2004 was the last one. And then last year they brought it back, but it wasn't as hyped up as it is. And now this year, the lineup is phenomenal. Like you have Down, Black Label Society, like, you know, there's hundreds of other bands that are playing there that are actually really good. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to get a chance to get up there to see it. It's just really tough to do both days.
Yeah, I'm sort of, like I thought my festival days were over, really, because it's a lot of fucking effort to go.
It
Like,
is.
and I'm not a young pup, I'm 50 plus. So,
Yeah, it's tough.
it was hard enough to go to festivals when I was younger, and so I kind of balk at that whole idea. But when you see the lineups, and it's like, oh man, but I don't have to do what I used to. Hero Brian. That's Hero Brian is my co-admin in my Discord. So
What's
fellow
up?
Swede up very late. It's like 2 a.m. there. My gosh. Um, but yeah, no, I mean festivals. I went to festivals in Scandinavia like Roskilde, Hultsfred. There were other ones, and you go so hard. Like you want to see as many bands as you possibly can, and you go to bed at 2 a.m. and you crash the hell
Oh
out,
yeah,
and then you wake up at you have to get up at 11 or whatever to get something to eat and have a bottle of wine for breakfast.
yeah,
That's how I used to work, at least, to start it all over again.
right.
So just thinking about that past experience is like, no, I can't do that. I can barely when I go to
Yeah,
like a regular show, just to stand up for 3 hours to watch a show. I mean, when we
right.
went together to Mushroom Head and stuff, we were pleasantly sitting down,
Yeah, so that's the
watching
thing about the Metal Fest,
the
right?
show, right?
You get there at literally 10 in the morning. The first band plays at like 10:30, and then you kind of hang out and you do your meet and greets, you do your stuff. The one nice thing about the Metal Fest, I don't know if it's changed now. I'm not really sure. But when you bought your ticket in, a lot of the guys in the bands would just hang out. They'd walk around and they were fans themselves. So you would be
Yeah.
standing next to somebody from Immolation, or you would be standing next to somebody from Arch Enemy. And that's kind of how I met Angela the first time. We were actually watching a band. Who were we watching? It was Suspiria. It was the guys from Demu. Three of the five guys from Demu were in Suspiria together, and we were just kind of standing there, and I just literally happened to look next to me, and Angela from Arch Enemy standing there. So I kind of like I nudged her and I kind of waved and she waved back, and I went like this because you couldn't hear anything. I would have had to have gotten on top of her to like yell in her ear so she could hear me. So I went like this, like to sign something, and she did one of these. And so when the set was over, I went over to her and I was like, "Hey, I just got the CD." She's like, "Do you have it with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's in my bag." Pulled it out. She signed it for me.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that we quickly got a topic because we didn't discuss a topic today, but I think the festival experience is a
It's
pretty cool
huge.
thing to
Yeah, let's.
to talk about. Like I said, I've been to a few, and I think the main thing, other than the just the multitude of great bands and bands that you want to see, resist the temptation.
I wanted to get him on to say hi.
Thank you.
Hey,
I didn't want to cut your conversation off, but thank you
oh,
very
go ahead.
much.
No, no, no. We're talking about the festival experience. We like guys that are in bands and kind of can walk us through it. So we wanted to get you on and get you part of the conversation. So
Thank
have you
you.
been to any festivals, any big shows, any?
Yeah, first off, I wanted to just say, Kali, is that how you pronounce your name? I am so sorry. But
Kale, yeah.
Kale
That's
is a
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
he is a homie. We went into his live. He played us. Loved our music. Like what you do for artists and everything. I love you, man. Like I told my band about you. I'm like, this guy is great. So also Sweden metal. We love that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
But to answer your question, we have. Are you asking about my band specifically, or?
Band specifically, personally, if there's anything that you've been to, if there's anything that stands out, a cool concert experience you had, a festival experience, whatever you got, let us know. Bands included, your personal, whatever.
Yeah. So this year, me and my friends are going to see Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium's 20th anniversary tour for like the Ascendancy and Poison. That they came out with. So like I'm going with a bunch of buddies for that. I am super stoked because I kind of grew up with those albums. So for me, it's like being able to like kind of reminisce those days, the early 2000s is incredible. So I have a lot of concerts to go to.
So I have a really cool Bullet for My Valentine story. When I don't know if you remember the Vans Work Tour.
Oh yeah.
So it had a lot of punk and ska bands on it, and in the very infancy of it, they got a couple hardcore, heavier bands like Bullet for My Valentine, Killswitch Engage. Before Killswitch was Killswitch, right? They were kind of still on the independent scene. Yep. But I remember going to the Vans Work Tour and seeing Bullet for My Valentine, and they were just starting out to be. I think they might have just dropped their EP at that time. I don't even think if their album was out yet. But they rocked the place. It was awesome because a lot of people were there for NoFX and I can't remember like the bigger like punk bands kind of like ruled the Vans Warped Tour. But Bullet for My Valentine was awesome when they were there. They blew the roof off the place.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think a cool thing about festivals is that you sort of mix that you get, which is sometimes really good for bands that kick ass. And then there are some bands that are there that get really disappointed because the audience might not be as interested in them as others, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you can get the local band, that just knows the festival organizer and they get a shot at the 10:30 scene or whatever, right? And they are so good and people hear it because they're nearby and they just go to check to what's going on, and that band all of a sudden blows up. Or whatever, right? Or they double their audience because of that performance. Or there's the case of when there's a mismatch,
right?
That's kind of funny too.
One band that I felt terrible for at a festival was the Deftones. I don't know if you guys are fans of the Deftones, but they had that lemon incident in Chicago. Did I tell you guys that story?
No.
So, back in the day, it was the Tweeter Center. And I don't know who put the set list of what bands were going to play where, but they put the Deftones in between Slayer and Rob Zombie. And it was the most horrific placement ever. So Slayer gets on and rocks the place. I don't know why on God's green earth, but they were selling lemonades at the festival with whole lemons on the top. Those plastic cups with the plastic straws? Yeah. And they were putting lemons, like full lemons, in the thing. The Deftones get on and everybody started booing. They played the first song and people were taking the lemons out of the lemonade and chucking them at the stage. There's YouTube videos of it if you Google like Deftones in Chicago. So Chino is getting pelted with lemons and he gets on the microphone and goes, if one more motherfucker throws a lemon on stage, there were 30,000 lemons that were he stopped after the first song. They walked off the stage. Rob Zombie played a double set. So
that's hilarious. I have a bit of a story too from I think it was '94. So this was in Sweden. There was a little small town that was a hub. It was a guy. He started a label called Burning Heart Records, which is totally appropriate. He's the guy that put on all the shows that I've been talking about, like Sepultura, Sodom, Carcass, in the late 80s, early 90s, where Entombed were basically a house band, like a little small opener that was a go-to type of thing. But he got enough funds to start a festival. And in 94, there, I think that year it was Gwar, Earth Crisis, Snapcase, NoFX, Carcass were playing, the Symphonies of Carcass were there. Okay, so that must have been 93 then, if it was Symphonies of Sickness. Anyway, so there was a band that had a hit that he really liked, so he was like, "Hey, you guys should come play the festival." The song was Creep, and the band was Radiohead. So Radiohead come and play this festival with all these metal and punk rock people, right? Most of the people were either all in black and all the riveted leather jackets, or had mohawks or whatever, and nobody cared at all about Radiohead. So they played in front of maybe 50 people were at the main stage.
Wow.
And they got so pissed off. They were like, fuck you guys, we're never gonna play a fucking youth club show ever again.
Right.
Wow.
That was hilarious. So yeah, I wasn't even there in front of it, because I had I liked the song, but I could hear it from backstage when we were sitting drinking or whatever, right? But it was like, yeah, that was so funny. Like, man. But then, on the flip side of that, I went to a Roskilde festival, which is a huge, or was, it probably still is huge, but it's, we're talking about 80,000 people plus going to a 4-day festival. And, they put bands on whatever stage where they can slot them in. And, a power pop band that I like. I mean, I'm not all metal all the time, but they got to play actually the main stage, because that was the only stage that was available to them at the time when they could play or whatever, right? And they put on a really fucking good set. So they managed to play in front of 40,000 people at the main stage, totally rocked it, and nobody knew who they were, but they were like, man, this band is great. What are they called? So I think that's the beauty of the masses of the festival experience, is that you can choose where you want to go. You can be surprised when you just walk around to see, especially when it's a multi-stage festival, right? There's usually like a minimum of 3 stages. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Mark, that sometimes it is that you have the morning stage, the afternoon stage, and the evening stage type of thing, but the way that it works in Europe is mostly that it's like, it's a circulation, stage 1 is having a set now, and there's stage 4 has something small going on at the same time, but then you shift to stage 2 while they're setting up stage 1 for the next band and all that stuff, right? So you could just sort of even if it wasn't a band that you knew, you could still there's nothing going on, I want to see the next band in a couple hours, there's no point in going back to the tent, so I'll just go check out whatever's going on. And you could discover so many good things, right? Which and you know this, since you've been to my lives, Resistant Temptation. I'm sorry, that's hard to say. If you have a name that I can call you by.
It's okay. You could call me Resist, but also my name's Dylan. I play guitar in the band.
All right, cool. But anyway, but you know that I'm a lot about discovering new music and finding things out, and festivals is definitely a great way of doing so. Even going to the regular shows, I always try to be there on time for the opening bands, because many times I don't know what the opening acts are, and that's sometimes that's when you make just the real discoveries. Is like, holy shit, that opening band was so fucking good.
It's great. Like I gotta say, because we're relatively new to TikTok, and we have a pretty good following on Instagram and a couple other platforms, but I got assigned in the band to kind of grow our TikTok presence. And when I stumbled upon your live, I actually saw your live a few times, and I'm listening to what you're listening to, and I'm like, I wonder if he would like us. So I'm like, let me click on it and let's see what he's got. Because I loved your opinions, and you totally understand like music as holistically as you do, and like you totally tell you're a pro. So when it was a great experience. So I'm like, I always love finding people like that. We need more of that, um, especially for the small artists like us. It's a great thing that you do that, and I respect that so much. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for that, but
Yeah.
No,
that
no,
that,
you
that warms
deserve it.
warms the old heart. But
You
yeah, no,
deserve it. It's like there's so much, there's so many things like, and it means the world to those bands that you show up for early, and we've had people do it for us too, and like it means a lot, especially when you're not known. So like just keep doing you. It's you
Hey
know
Dylan,
I'm
what
getting a little
area are
bit
you
clumsy.
from? Are you from Midwest or what? Where?
we are from Long Island, New York.
Long Island. Okay.
Or Long Island, however you want to say it. You want to be in the accent, you could be in the accent. But we're
Okay,
from,
so my verklempt comment just now is very appropriate. Right?
yeah.
Linda Kaufman.
Yeah, there you go. We all reside in Long Island. We have one member
Okay.
that lives in
Awesome.
Connecticut, but we mainly play the Northeast. The Midwest is absolutely on our list.
Awesome.
So we've applied to a lot of festivals and in the Midwest, and we got a couple looks, but haven't been accepted to any yet. But we're going to keep trying.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
all you can do, right?
If you get anywhere with that, or if you I don't have that many connections or ins yet, because I mean I just started this pretty recently too, but I'm building a little bit of a reputation, I think. But so if you ever get an ins here, if you're coming this way, let me know, and I'll push as much as I possibly can for that.
Thank you. Wow. See, this is why you're great. Thank you
Well, I
so
mean,
much.
well, the thing is that everybody starts somewhere, right? And that goes for Metallica. It goes for Slayer. Like everybody started somewhere in someone's basement or garage, right? And that's what it's about. Like and when people are given the chances, whether they rise to it or not, that's totally what makes them or not.
Yeah.
So to circle back to the festival thing a little bit, based on that story, right? So there was a little punk band that I liked that was on a small or well, fairly large, I guess, for underground punk bands. But I liked them. They were called Green Day. I had their first three albums, and then they came to Sweden in '93. Played a free show at a venue called Gino's, and about 60 people were there. They had a new album called Dookie, and they at the end of the show sat on the edge of the stage and tried to sell their CDs. And I walked out to them. I had a fanzine at the time, and I said, "Hey, like I love you guys. I have your records or whatever, and you mind if I hang out for a bit?" And so I hung out, with Green Day that night, and it was fun. We had a good time, chatted, and they smuggled out some beer for me or whatnot, and they said that they were going to play that very Radiohead festival that I was talking about earlier. They were going to play that weekend on that, so they put me on the guest list for it, and so on. So, but the thing is that they were really cool people, very down to earth. But the thing is that then they played Woodstock a couple of months later, which is, a legendary performance. Like they played really good songs really well, were engaging with the audience, and then there was the extra thing that there was a lot of mudslinging going on. Like it was really muddy at Woodstock, '93, or was it '94?
I think it was
Anyway,
94.
so yeah, so they just put on a really good performance. They were one of the up and coming bands, had some minor attention or whatever, right? But then they put on that fucking festival show again with like, MTV at its peak. MTV was in 94 the TV channel for the teen music audience. They were on more or less prime time afternoon, and had on and put on this rebellious thing that the whole Nirvana thing had started with or whatever, right? So it was the perfect performance at the perfect time, perfect opportunity, and then they totally blew up, right? Which was such a contrast from when I had met them just 2-3 months earlier. But I really do think that a lot of Green Day's notoriety came from the Woodstock performance that they did, getting covered in mud, and all that stuff. So it's about, if you support the smaller bands and you give them the opportunities, and you put them in situations where they can excel, that's when they can prove themselves. And some fall flat and some really rise to the occasion. And Green Day totally rose to the occasion, and they've been around ever since. I mean, they made a fucking musical. I mean, come on, So I think that the festival experience, for a smaller band to get a festival gig is probably the thing that, in live terms, they should take the most serious of all gigs they have ever done. Like, yes, you can play a legendary venue, like, oh yeah, maybe if you're in Southern California, you get to play the Whiskey, or Reggie's in Chicago or something like that, right? But one gig doesn't make you at one of those things. It's a feather in the cap that you can put in your resume, and it's for sure, something that you can use to market yourself further to get further up the ladder.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you get to play the D stage at Riot Fest or something like that, right? And you play so well that there's not enough people to accommodate you, right? Then that matters so much more.
It's awesome because, like I said before, the one band that I really saw on Ozfest when I first went in 1999, they played at 10:30 in the morning. It was a little band in a bunch of clown suits called Slipknot, and nobody knew who they were. They hadn't put out their album yet, and Ozzy had them on the Ozfest. 5 years later, they're headlining the thing. So I mean, it was really cool, because if you hadn't got there at 9 in the morning, you wouldn't have seen them open at 10:15 in the morning. They were the first band on, and they were ill received. Most people were like, what's this heavy metal band with a turntable, and why are they wearing these weird clown outfits? And they kind of played for about 20 minutes and they left. And then all of a sudden they just gained a bunch of steam. They kind of they updated their outfits, and they updated their stage thing. And the next thing you know, they're one of the biggest bands on the planet. And they literally played at 10:45 in the morning, the first Ozfest.
Yeah.
So
Resist. What's your greatest festival experience so far?
Yeah, that's great. So, we have not played. So I guess I could probably turn that into an event that we do every year. I guess you could kind of treat it like a festival. So every year for the last, how long have we been doing it? 3 years. We play our annual Halloween show that we do in Long Island. We have like 4 bands. We rent out a venue, and for a bunch of local bands, the venue is a 200 cap venue that we like rent out, the 4 of us between here and Long Island. And every year we have grown it. The first year we played to about like maybe 150 or so, and then this year we grew that to almost having to turn people away, which was really upsetting. But
That's a good problem to have.
For 4 bands that, we get physical tickets and we hustle. We try to build our scene and we try to build our presence. So like every year, that is my band's biggest show. And, we've had people come down from Connecticut and the city for it, because it's grown to such a height that if this year we we sell it out, we're thinking we're going to have to expand to a bigger place the following year, which is great. But it's a great event because it's Halloween, so people love that. It kind of, I totally agree with everything you guys said. The Halloween show is good for us because we all kind of do covers at the end of the night together. So people love like the covers like that we put together at the end of the night to like kind of get everyone to keep them engaged until the end of the show. But like, it kind of takes it away from just being a show, and it's like an event. When people are like, this is what I want to go to. I want to go to the Halloween show with Resist the Temptation and my other friends in Dead Within Days that you guys would probably love too. So that is the greatest show we do every year, and I love it.
Awesome.
And that's a really cool idea, by the way. The Halloween thing, especially when you're doing the metal type thing, like people are more receptive to that, right around Halloween, right?
Yeah, we do dress up. So like we have a theme. So last year, my band, we did classic horror. So I actually I dressed up as a vampire, and I got teeth that I had to glue in. It took me forever to glue in, but they're all over my Instagram, and the photos are sick. So we all like dress up. Like each band has a theme, so like we tell everyone to dress up, and it makes it really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of festivals, at least in Europe, started out really small. It was like a little youth club or whatever that started to have the local bands, and then enough people came that they had enough money for the next year to maybe bring in a bigger name or whatever, right? So a lot of those big festivals, like I don't know how Wacken started, for example, but I bet that it started as a very small thing with 10 bands getting together to do something, right? Which then blew up. I know like the Roskilde Festival, which I said it was huge, like 80 to 100,000 people. Started as just a little hippie gathering, more or less, right? And then it turned into what it is. So it's one of those things where a lot of musicians sort of lose sight of this. It's like, I'm putting shit out there and I'm organizing things, and well, lo and behold, 100 and 150 people showed up. Like, what difference does that make? And it could be discouraging. But when you think about the long game, it's like, how many did we expect? We got 150 people. That's way less than zero. It depends on the money you put into it. And Mark was talking about the Milwaukee Metal Fest, right? Which is it's one of those things where Milwaukee Metal Fest put on shows in fucking Florida and California. Like it's a national thing now. Like it's a brand, Milwaukee Metal Fest. It's not just the Midwest, and it's not just a festival. It's like they put on, like they're an organization that put on shows all over the place. So it's one of those things that can grow, and it doesn't have to just stay as one thing either, right? If you get in with something like if you play a show that is organized by Milwaukee Metal Fest and you do a good job, you will get eyes on you, and that will mean that maybe you will be put on, granted, 100-band list of things to play the big festival. But the thing is that then you have the opportunity to play that fucking, mega festival alongside Killswitch Engage and Sleep Token and all those other big bands, right? Which is like, when would you ever, as a local band, get that opportunity? So I think that's another tactic that local bands should look into, is like, who are the organizers for the bigger festivals in my area? So what smaller gigs do they put on, and can I get into that to sort of show off and get their eyes on me, right? It's so much about getting I know I say a lot about get on the socials all the time. Put yourself out there, every fucking day. Put something out there to get people to notice you. But it's not about get as many people as possible to notice you on the TikTok. It means that if you get a lot of people noticing you on the TikTok, that means that 2 or 3 of those might be people that can actually do something for you.
Yep.
So it's a sort of double pronged approach. It's like, the people that do like you and notice you can also see that you have a following. So it's like you guys are great, but nobody knows about you. So that's a bit of a gamble, right? So if you go on the socials and you get that shit done, you reach the right people and you have a following that's a few thousand or whatever, right? Then all of a sudden you're worthwhile to get some attention.
You just mentioned the socials and stuff like that, and put yourself out there. Dylan, do me a favor and message me all your links, because when I post this video to YouTube, I'll plug you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's what we're about, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. Like, we might be, indulging in some chats or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, what we're doing is promoting the scene and how good it is.
I just came here because I saw Callie here, and he's a homie, so I was like, let me pop in.
Yeah, no worries.
And I met some great people. You guys are awesome. Thank you. It's very humbling. And everything you guys are saying, it's like you guys are in my conversation. I say the same. By day I'm in the band, and by night, or rather by night I'm in this band, and then by day I'm in the corporate world. I'm in sales for a living. Like I have that mind where, like, I go out, I hand out flyers, I talk to people. You have to, like, tell people who you are, because sometimes if they don't know, like, I heard this saying from someone, and it's like, not interested is a level of interest. And it's so profound, because before they didn't even know they weren't interested. So at least now you enter the conversation of, well, maybe I'll be interested later, because at least now they know about you. And one of my managers told me that when I first started sales, and I will never forget that, because it's so true. Because we've had some people that never knew us before, and then after finding us, they're like, okay, I'll check them out. And then we started getting fans, and they became a fan. And it's like, I never introduced myself to them. They would have never found us. So it's like such a great thing.
It's profound, because my motto's always been, I'd rather ask and be told no than to never ask at all.
Totally agree.
Yeah, the Yogi Berra thing, you miss 100% of the shots you never take, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, that especially like, I'm probably the oldest one here, but Mark, I'm sorry, you're not super young or whatever, right?
I'm also young. I'm a 90s kid.
But the thing is that we've been brought up a certain way by our parents that were committed to their jobs and the company they worked for, or whatever profession they were in, and that's not necessarily the way it works. And let's face it, metal's been around since 1969 or whatever, right? It's not something to be ashamed of anymore, and it's obviously a lot of people that are into that whole thing. But for whatever reason, there's this stigma, like, we feel like we need to hide that, right? I work for a global corporation that is, massive, and I have the fortune of having a boss that is very open-minded. That I went on a business trip last year, and me and my boss went to see Dayside together.
You saw Glenn Benton
in San Francisco, right? So the thing is that, coming out as a musician doing this type of weird shit, it's not a bad thing anymore. I think that there's a shit ton of people that are afraid of admitting to it, and as soon as you open that door, the floodgates open, and so in the past couple of years, I've totally, like, not tried to hide that. I have
I
my
never have.
vomitory t-shirts on
Yeah.
on conference calls and shit, right? If someone can read that it says vomitory, they know what I'm about, and they
Right.
know it, and they like it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, right.
so if they don't, then they just see like, oh, he's got some red pattern on his t-shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. And during that week when I was in Silicon Valley for those meetings, it was like I was hesitant at first at like a team dinner to say that, yeah, me and my boss were going to see Dayside tonight, and it took a while to bring that up, to be honest. Like,
Sure.
I know that contradicts what I just said, but it was like, I have no problem exposing myself to it, but here was my manager involved, right? So I didn't know his comfort level. But all of it, for the people at the table were like, oh, where's that? Shit, I've got something planned. Otherwise, I would come along, type of thing, right? It's pretty cool that at a table of 12 people, that 4 said, oh man, I would totally go to that. So I think where was I going with that point? I was it's just that we don't have to separate. We don't have to keep our musician lives separate from our work lives.
Totally agree.
Mhm.
And I think also that it's everybody has dreams, everybody has ambitions.
I think Kelly froze up a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think he froze.
That's all right. Well, he'll come back on.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, but hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Dylan. You're always welcome to come in and
Thank you, man.
yeah.
We all run this account. So at any given moment, if one of us joins, you might meet another person, but usually it is me. We appreciate meeting you, and thank you for
Yeah.
having us like unexpectedly. Thank you.
No, that's awesome. You're always welcome to top on. We usually do this once a week, so it's usually a Thursday night at 7 or 7:30. Me and Kelly just get on. I do my own podcast. I just had a bunch of bands on recently, so if you ever want to do my podcast personally, you're more than welcome. We just shoot me a message. We could set that up too. I post everything on YouTube, so you'll see this up there with all my other stuff. So
Heck yeah.
any way I could help out, let me know.
Yeah, no, you're awesome. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the community, and just like it's very much appreciated. We appreciate it. So thank you.
Hold on a second. Kelly said he got dropped. I'm going to see if I can invite him. I don't know how I can get him back on here. Let's see. No, I want to cancel that. Where the heck is he? I'm sending him a message here. Normally I don't do this. Let's see. All right, so he said, guess, let me see. All right, he should be back on in a minute. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry, I couldn't find the request button. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was crazy. He froze up, and I'm like, I think he froze up.
Yeah.
And me and Dylan are just kind of hanging out. I was like, oh, let me
Yeah,
see.
I know.
I was waiting for the punchline. You look like you were going to
Take-
say something, and then I'm like, he's not saying anything. What happened?
TikTok just said you're a fucking boring guy. We're gonna drop you right now. Get to the point, bastard. Yeah, I was just rambling on anyway. You didn't miss anything. So
No, it's all good.
What do you mean? I was so intrigued. Like I was what? So you have to
what
finish
were
what
you
you were
talking
going
about?
to
I
say.
don't even remember. I
You
feel
were
like my wife right
talking-
now. I don't
you
know
were
what-
talking
I don't know
about-
what I'm saying.
you were in the middle of telling us you were in Silicon Valley, and
Yeah.
that you were basically saying how you were hiding the fact that you were a metal fan, and then you kind of were like, screw it, and you were just about to have this huge breakout and pull the
Yeah.
shirt off with vomitory on it, and then you froze.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. No. But the to make the long story short, you know, like I said, I've been trying to wear it on my sleeve, but you know, in a group setting, it's a little bit more sensitive, right? And especially if you have like managers that are a couple levels up. But when me and my boss finally said that, well, yeah, we're going to a death metal show tonight, you know, it was like, you know, four other people said that. Oh fuck, where? You know, if I didn't have plans tonight, I would totally go. So that's the point. It's like, you know, the stigma is not there anymore in terms of being into this. It's too big, you know. Like,
Yeah.
you know, people are cool with it. So we just shouldn't be afraid of it. That's the moral of the story,
No.
really.
And it's kind of cool, right? Because you incognito tell somebody like, "Hey, I'm going to see a concert." Oh, who are you going to go see, right? And they say, "Oh, I'm going to go see Pantera. I'm going to go see Exodus. Or I'm going to go see whatever." And the reaction might be like, "Oh, I saw them," or like, "That's cool. I'd like to see that," right? So you never know who's going to be on your side when you say it.
Totally agree.
Or and there's the thing also that, you know, like the people that are around the same age or whatever, it's like, yeah, I listened to that shit when I was in college, but then I grew up and formed a family or whatever, right? So they felt like they had to abandon it because it was too youthful or whatever. I don't know, some bullshit reason.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you're still living that?
Well,
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
jealous
how
of-
many of us
yeah.
have been guilty of being a hard rock or heavy metal fan, and you start dating and you get into the dating scene, and the girl you're seeing says, "Oh, I'm going to go see Justin Bieber," and you're like, "Awesome." Like, you know, you kind of just, you know, and then you kind of explore that scene, right? So it's kind of like when you're in that realm, you know, I was a metal fan since I was a kid, but I've dated some girls that I was like, went to concerts where I would have ever not gone to on my own, but you just kind of, you know, but at both of those shows, I did wear Pantera shirts, so.
I did for my wife when for well, the pandemic. I lived in Canada, and when the pandemic happened, she turned 40, so I had to sort of postpone my 40th present. But she likes Paramore.
Mhm.
Don't shoot me.
And
But,
Paramore's
yeah,
not
so-
bad. Like, they got
So
really
well,
popular.
it used to be punk pop, right?
Yeah,
You know, they
and-
started out as a punk pop band.
And that
so-
song, they got really famous with Twilight. They were like huge into the, like, you know, and I wasn't, I like vampire movies. Obviously, I'm a horror movie fan, right? You could see the Michael Myers and, you know, Freddy up there. But like, that was the one movie that kind of like broke through as being like, they took the vampire aspect of it and they made it like a teen like embrace. And I actually liked it. So like Paramore, that's how I found out about Paramore, was through Twilight. They had that song in the movie.
Yeah. No, but I mean, my wife is like me, multifaceted. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, she listens to weird shit too, right? But she does like Paramore.
Did you ever ask her about Stuck on You?
So
Is that
we went to see you know, that was a birthday present to go see Paramore in Indianapolis. You know, so
Did
she
you ever
went
ask her if
see
that was
them.
the right failure, by the way? If that was the song Stuck on You?
Oh fuck! I forgot to ask her. Damn it! Yeah, she's too far away now. Okay, she won't hear me if I yell at her. Yeah, the failure thing. Yeah, she loves failure. She loves American football. She loves, you know, witch house music,
Yeah.
pagan folk. You know, like so she's super multifaceted. But you know, we all have our little. I don't want to call them guilty pleasures, but you know, the things that are just melodies that speak to us, and to her, you know, Paramore is one of those things. She loves Taylor Swift, you
Yeah.
know, which all the power to her, you know, like I don't mind. It's art is subjective. Will I put on Taylor Swift? No, I won't. But I do feel
It's kind of,
tempted
you know,
to-
but though it's weird that you mentioned like the pagan folk and like the witch house stuff, right? Because a band that I was really big into when I was in high school was Emperor, right? We talked about this before. And Mortis leaves Emperor from playing bass and starts a techno metal kind of like weird type thing. And I didn't know what it was. And I bought Mortis's album, and I was like, it was totally unlike, because I think Mortis, I'm first thing I'm thinking is black metal, right? Old school hardcore black metal. And it was the exact opposite. And it got me into that trance dance kind of like metal. It was bizarre, but it worked. It was
Wasn't that with Isan from Emperor?
he did a bunch of like he had a bunch of people on it. So when he first started, he actually had a band. It was like four guys that were like made this music, and then he just kind of went the DJ route and started programming it with all his own stuff. And then he just had one guy with him that was basically playing drums. He did everything else.
Yeah, because there were a few of those that did that. I know that Isan was sort of playing around with that too, and it was all bouncing around. It was a small community and like black metal people that did
Yeah, it was weird. I was like,
so I think there was a bit of a sub scene going on there. I have to dig into that. That's
but when you
I mean,
mentioned
it's
Witch House, it
decades ago
reminded
now,
me of
but
Mortis because that's Mortis sounds a lot like that.
yeah. I mean, getting into Witch House. I mean, we're very very far from the festival thing that we started, but we didn't have a topic, so I don't feel guilty.
Yeah,
But the Witch House thing is one of those where it's like it is definitely mixing a black metal with electronic music,
yeah,
right? It's
absolutely.
to get the feeling of black metal using electronics.
Yeah.
And what's interesting now is that my buddies, Satanic Hispanic, Saint, those guys. I mean, it's a pretty strong scene here
Hmm.
in the northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin type
Yeah.
area. There's a lot of that going on.
There was a
But
goth band called Raised in
they're
Black. I don't. Did you ever hear of Raised in Black? You've ever heard of them?
Raised in Black. I have not heard of. No.
Okay, so Raised in Black, they started off as kind of a gothic metal band, so they kind of sounded like him, a little bit of Typo Negative, and in their second album, they went into the trance, and they took that goth like trance, and they started putting dance beats over it. Their album is awesome. The Raised in Black, I think they only had two, and their first one is like goth metal, kind of like oh, and then their second one they went into dance music, and it's like that hardcore like metal trance with like gothic. It's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite albums. Raised in Black
That's
is the name of
cool.
the band. Yeah,
Send it to me. I
I
I
will for
haven't heard
sure.
that. So send it to me. I think though that Witch House has been declared dead, which I know that it's really not, but
Hmm.
it had a peak of it piqued some people's interest. But where that thing is going, instead of being like a spooky, highly reverberated trap thing with distorted synths, it's definitely going in more in a metal industrial direction
Hmm.
now. I know my buddy Satanic Hispanic. He's picked up his guitar, for sure.
Yeah.
There's his label Blasphemy Records. There's a guy in California, Morningstar, that's he's playing the whiskey
Hmm.
and places like that
I know
with
who
his
that is. Yeah.
Witch House and Morgue Witch and Tanya and they start to not to go away from the label of Witch House just because it feels like it's blasé now, like, or it's like it's sort of like
Yeah.
a
It'll
non-term
always
now,
make
like
circles because
so they relabel themselves
yeah.
even though it's the same thing that they are evolving. um but I really do think that that's something that's going to come up. I mean, the stuff that I'm working on isn't Witch House. The stuff my wife is working on isn't Witch House. By the way, she's coming up with a single March 21st,
Awesome.
which is
Well,
fucking awesome. It's
yeah.
a great fucking song. But it's evolving, and just because it's
Sure.
kind of like a dated genre that isn't as sort of everlasting as
Yeah.
say black metal or something like that.
Yeah. Do you know who Godhead is, by the way? Have you heard of Godhead?
Godhead. Ooh, I do would
Because he
they
was
go
like the
back into
first.
the 90s? Like, would
Yeah,
they go
so
back that far?
Godhead, Zero Mancer, Raised in Black, they were like the kind of trendsetters of that trance metal movement, which kind of warped into a lot of black and industrial metal bands putting dance tracks and trance tracks on top of metal albums, and they kind of mixed it. Zero Mancer, they had a song called 1-800 Suicide, which was like they took like rock, speed,
Kind of rings a
black
bell.
metal, and they put trance on it. And so when you listen to it, you could easily hear it playing in a goth club, but you could easily hear it playing in a dance floor. It was like really eclectic. They were very good. And Godhead did the same thing.
It does ring a bell. I don't remember it exactly. I remember there was also a band called God Machine that was trying to do that a little bit. I
Mhm.
think that uh, I mean, in the '90s, obviously, there were the two hugest European or subcultures were the rave scene and the metal
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
So for the two to blend together makes absolute sense, right?
Yeah.
I talked about it last week too. Like Orbital did a Satan song, for
Yeah.
example, or whatever, right? Trying to blend things together. So that makes absolute sense. I would say that Godflesh also to some extent were trying to do industrial
Yeah.
trance in a way, right? Because they
Yeah.
were very drony and made 7-minute versions of their songs where it was like you didn't write a song, you wrote an experience, right?
Mhm.
That's the way you compose your music, which is the difference between, I guess, metal songs and trance songs. Trance music.
Yeah.
I've been deep into trance too, by the way,
Yeah.
which
So
is
I'm
not
dating myself.
this is not
But
something that I talk about on my
no.
TikToks. It's like
Yeah.
I know a lot about old trance music
But
too.
in
Uh,
the U.S., I
but
don't know how it was in Sweden, but in the U.S., you would find these old abandoned warehouses, and you would stick DJs in them, and they would have these raves, these trance parties all night long,
oh
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
and you'd find just warehouse after warehouse after warehouse that was abandoned, and you just get 20 or 30 DJs, and they would all start, and you'd have thousands of people just at these warehouses, and that was big in the States. I don't know how it was.
Yeah. No, no. In Europe, because there was usually drugs involved, right? So it was highly illegal.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Nobody wanted to pay for anything or whatever, right? So it was you had to know someone that got you a mysterious ticket to be at this bus stop at this time, and something will pick you up, and then you will get dropped, and something else, you will.
Mhm.
It was almost like a treasure hunt, to finally get you to a place, or you might know that in this old abandoned factory building, there's going to be an event.
That's how it was here.
And,
But
and,
they didn't.
and,
It
and
wasn't as secretive. They would tell you, okay, on this building at this state at this time, right? Because you used to the same thing, right? A ton of illegal drugs, right? Ecstasy was a big one, right? A lot they were handing it out, and people were just passing pills and stuff like that. But the DJs that were there and the bands that were there, they would kind of mix, right? You'd have a guitarist and a bassist and a drummer, and the DJ would come on and they would start playing, and and then you'd have some random guy get up on stage with a microphone and just start singing. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but for the most part, it did very well. It was
but then,
underground, very underground though, not mainstream.
yeah, but that's also kind of how the whole stoner rock thing started too,
Hmm.
right? Like the Kayas and those guys
Yeah,
in Southern California. That's how that got started
yeah.
too. It was like, yeah, we can't play at a venue. We're gonna put some generators at these
Go to the desert.
coordinates, in the middle of the desert.
That's
You
it.
guys show up, you know. So it's pretty interesting how when suppression comes your way, when people are trying to put you down, people always find a way to get around it. It's gonna happen. Art always finds a way, always finds a way. And I'm in this situation now where I'm looking to find a green card, so I don't want to say too much because I don't know who's listening. Um, but I still feel like whenever there are hard times, art always comes through and art always wins. Any attempt, I challenge anyone to find an art movement that has been successfully repressed, suppressed, and not have a life
Right.
afterwards. I don't think that it's ever happened. I think that, politics, philosophies, religions, all kinds of views can come and go, but art has always progressed and has never been stopped.
Yeah.
Yikes! That sounded so.
No, but it's true, right?
I didn't mean to make a big statement
No.
like that. That was pretty big, but
Yeah.
I'm so happy I joined.
but I think
this.
it's
This
true.
is great. This is great. You guys are awesome.
You're awesome too. You're welcome anytime, Dylan. Anytime you want to hop on, you're more than welcome. Bring
Thank
the
you
rest
so
of the
much.
band too. Invite them all on. We got
Yeah,
screens.
no, I definitely
And-
will.
And look up Resistant Temptation, by the way. I remember them. It's really hard fucking shit. Like
Yeah, I'm gonna check them out as soon as I'm done. It's
awesome.
just- it's
You know,
an awesome
I'm so
experience.
humbled when people are when great people, great musicians come on and say these
Yeah.
nice things. It's like what the no, I'm the one that should be sort of rolling the accolades onto you guys. So it's really humbling and it's fantastic.
Sure.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
that you're here and that it's appreciated.
course.
So
Yeah, no, we have some new stuff coming out, which I'm so excited to like for you guys to hear it. Like it's been a while since we released something, but we have like we have an EP that's coming out, and we are all like super stoked about it. So if you liked what you heard before, you're gonna love this because I put my new metal and like alternative metal flair for guitar riffs in here with the female vocalist, and I think it's great. So
we love that too. So we talked female vocalists. So yeah, we're down for that.
yeah,
I think I know someone that runs a podcast with 6K plus followers or something that likes to talk to bands and stuff too. So I don't know. Maybe I can hook you up with some guy that might want to chat to you more in depth with that.
yeah, that would be great. We would love that. We would absolutely love that.
Yeah, we'll hook it up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good at picking up stuff. I did well on those types of tests. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention names, but it might be close by.
Right.
We'll see.
we'll see. Yeah, he sounds like a great guy.
we'll make it happen. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool. I am going to have to go check on my wife for a bit.
Sure. Yeah. Wish her well.
sorry.
I hope everything goes well. And then we'll keep us posted on your stuff and her stuff musically. Dylan, send me your links before I post this video. I'll plug everything in YouTube. It's going right over there.
Okay. Do you want me to put it? Can I DM it to you? You want me to put
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
the chat?
DM it to me. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's like a link tree, is that cool?
Yeah, put the link tree in, and I'll link that right to YouTube. And then just when you're in there, just put "Are you resistant temptation" across all the platforms.
Yes.
Awesome. Then I'll just link it into YouTube. Send me your link tree specifically, and I'll link that in the video, the bio of the video, and then I will send you the link to the YouTube video when it's up, so you can see it.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
Thanks, Dylan, for joining.
Yeah.
Mark, this was great as always. Thanks for suffering through my mental
No,
state at the moment.
That's what
But
we
it's all,
love, and we'll plug it, guys. So again, if you follow me, follow Kelly, and check out Resist the Temptation, guys. Like them, follow them, share their stuff. We'll get Dylan back on, and we'll chat. And you're welcome to come by. We do this once a week, so usually it's Thursdays, unless there's something going on. We have to make it a Wednesday or a different day, but Thursdays at 7 or 7:30 is usually our gig. So
awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for the gifts, the likes, the follows, and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week for sure.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.